on through the introduction of cascading style sheets, which was developed in the year 1996, and later it has two more versions, CSS 2 and 3. As per your textbook, CSS 3 is still on its way, but currently it's completely released and we are using this in our projects. So the main intention of CSS is to provide the presentational elements, like for whatever static text you have written in HTML. CSS provide the means to control them as well as change the presentation of the HTML documents. So you have already seen different styles of the CSS which we have applied and observed the changes. So there are three levels of style sheets we have seen: inline, internal or document level style sheets, and external style sheet. So we have seen the three different syntaxes. Inline has high precedence when compared to the document level and external style sheets. And we actually embed the external CSS file with the help of link tag, link rel, style sheet, and the type, the MIME type you have to specify, and the destination path where the file is, with the help of href attribute. And you can validate your CSS code as you have already validated the HTML using W3C validator. And we have the style specific formats, like we use we represent the styles with the help of a property and value, which we also call as key value pair. So on the left hand side you will have the property like color, colon, and right hand side you will have the value, and these pairs are separated using semicolon. So this is a representation of a document level which we declare in the head section of our web page. And in CSS we use a multi-line comment which is this. So this is the syntax how we use in a head section document level. And we have also seen different selectors. See, this is an example where two pairs of property and values are separated by semicolon here. So selector forms, here selector is a tag name or a list of tag names separated by commas. So if you want to have the same style for multiple tags, you can separate them by using comma, and here you can write the particular style. Okay, and contextual selectors are OL, UL, and LI. We call them as a contextual selectors. And there are class selectors where we style the page using classes. Like for example, you have two p tags with similar tags having different classes. You can differentiate by writing this, as well as even if you do not write p also, the class will take care of your stylings. And there are generic selectors. Generic selectors are nothing but different classes that we use in our web page, and these classes can be repeated for multiple tags based on the requirement. And we have ID selectors. ID is a unique value which we will give in our HTML page, and we can have the certain property value list. And it can, like, ID selector allows application of a style to one specific element. So we can give ID to only one element in our web page. And pseudo classes. These classes are the styles that apply when something happens. Okay. This behavior can be observed when you hover on your particular element, or when you try to write something in your input box, then you can observe these two. I have shared the examples as well. You can refer to them. So this is one of the example where we have observed the hover and focus. So there are 60 different properties in 7 categories. We have seen the fonts and list, and remaining properties we are going to see further. Fonts, we have seen the font style, font weight, okay, font family, and the shorthand property, font, And list we have seen like nested list. And keywords are the values, like keywords here are not case sensitive, you can represent them either way. And when you want to represent any sizes of the elements like font size, or we can use a certain units like pixels, inches and centimeters. And percentages are mainly useful for fluid layouts. Fluid layouts are nothing but in a real time we'll be using the same HTML page, I mean like same URL for different multiple devices. In that case these percentages are very helpful. So maybe after this CSS class I can show you an example of the fluid layouts. And we have colors, RGB colors and hexadecimal numbers colors. So font family, Arial, Helvetica and Courier. So Arial will be applied first and then later Helvetica and Courier. And these are the generic fonts. So yesterday I have also mentioned like please try in your inspect element. On the right hand side you can check all the different font families. I hope you have tried them. So this is the font properties, size, style, weight. Okay. We have gone through two different examples, fonts and fonts2.html, where we can observe like try out adding these properties like text decoration, line through or overline, underline. And list properties, list style type, if you give none, nothing will be applied. You can have a image as well in the list style type. Square, capital letters, alpha, uppercase, lowercase, you can try them out. So these are the properties which we have gone through. So today we'll start our class with the topic called colors. So this color property specifies the foreground color of the XHTML elements. Okay, and depending upon your browser and monitors, these colors may appear differently. So there are three color collections here. See, there is a set of 16 colors that are guaranteed to be displayable by all graphical browsers on all the color monitors. So these are the colors which we can display it appropriately. So without any differences in different monitors or browsers. So these are the set of colors we have. So web palette is nothing but a combination of all the colors, 216 colors, and we can use the hex colors as well. So in your textbooks you can find different colors like this. Try giving some colors and practice them. So this color property specifies the foreground colors of the element. So we tried these examples in our earlier classes. We tried to give color to certain elements, some T headers, table headers. Okay, this is an internal style and we have already seen this. So let us see some background color property. Background color also we have observed in our previous classes. So the entire background is changed. If you give the background color for body, the entire background color has been changed to the specified color. So this is a property of a background color. You can see right here the entire color has changed to black. So background image also you can give any image link which is present in your local desktop so that you can find the background image applied here. of text here. The text indent property, like we have already seen v align, right, in tables, and align and v align. We have a text align here, and before that we have a text indent property which allows the indentation. It takes either a length like pixels or a percentage value like 5%, 10%, and all. So basically, the syntax is, for p tag you can have a text indent some 50 pixels. For example, you have started writing a paragraph. So the beginning of the paragraph will be positioned 50 pixels from the left. Okay. So the output will be, so here it is starting from 0, right? So if you give 50 pixels, it will move. It will give a gap of 50 pixels here, and your paragraph starts from here. So that is how a text indent property looks. And text align is nothing but you can align your text center, right, or justify left accordingly. We have one more property, float property. Sometimes you want the text to flow around another element. The float property, it helps us to place our paragraph or image on the left side or on the right side. For text we have seen the text align thing, right? So now you have some set of you have some images or you have some paragraph text. In that case, you can use this particular float property to have it left, right, or none. If you don't want to specify any float, it has to occupy the entire page, then by default it's none. If we have an element we want on the right with the text flowing on its left, so you want some element to be floated on right of your web page. Like this is your entire web page, right? You want your element to be on the right side, and you have some text actually. So that text you want to have it on your left side. So for that case, see here, with text flowing on its left, we use the text align value left for the text and the right value for the float on the element we want on the right. So this we can see with the help of an example here. So this is the image we have, and we have given a style called float right. So for this image is sitting right side of your web page, and the default alignment text will be left. So even if you do not give the text align as left also, by default it will come to the left as this right position is already occupied by the image. Okay, let's see the text indent property example once. We have given, so this is your paragraph. For this paragraph you have given a style. So let us started with a space in the beginning, right? So this is the 50 pixels whatever you have specified here. So if you give as 70 pixels, then you can observe it has moved a bit right. Okay, and you can also specify some percentages as it mentioned. Okay, it takes percentages as well. So fine, right? Okay, so here I have given text align center, so it has moved to the center of my web page. If I give it as left, it will go left. Left is by default. Okay, if you give right, you can see the changes here. It has moved right. Okay, with the same indentation it followed. So it's generally we use a left by default. Okay, even if you do not specify also, it has a. We have discussed earlier box model. So in box model, what you'll have is like your content, then your padding, margin, and the border. So borders, every element has a border style property. So the border style, it can be dotted, dashed, and double. And border width, it can be thin, medium, thick, or length. And border width, example border top width. So these are the different attributes that are present in a border. You can try out these things. border color as well. Border color can be specified for any of the four borders. Like for example, we have four borders, like we have a square box. For top border, for top line of a, like for top border we can have one color, for right border we can have another color. For the four borders we can have different colors by using the border top color, border right color, bottom color and left color. So border color has inner properties like border top always the order follows like top, right, bottom and left. Please make a note. Either margin or padding follows the like syntax follows the order top, right, bottom and left. And 10 pixel, then in the top 10 pixel it will take right, bottom and left. So border width also you can specify how much width it can have. It can be thin, medium, thick, and style can be dotted, dashed and double. On the top, border top, and left and right you can see a thick borders, and bottom you can see a dashed with color blue. So this property we have already learnt, border is equal to 5. So it will take the 5 as the number, the thickness of the border. You have a TRs here. See border top width, border bottom width. So border top width is medium and border bottom width is thick. Top color red, so that is the reason you can see the red color. And top style is dotted, so top style is dotted means dotted red color you have seen on the top. So bottom style is dashed and bottom color is blue. See, this is the bottom color dashed and bottom color is blue. Like this, border width is also thick for P and border style is dashed. Border color is red for the below element. Okay, so this is how you can play around different attributes of the border, margin and border. So now we have seen about the border, and next comes the margin. The space, it's a space actually between your border. Let me share the screen. Margin right, margin top and margin bottom. Okay, just assign them a length value. We have to give margin left as 10 pixels, margin bottom as 0.35 or any pixels or percentages. Okay, so as we have seen for font, there is a shorthand property for margin as well. You can specify the margin for a certain element like this: 10, 20, 30 and 10. Top, right, bottom and left. Okay, this is a shorthand property. Or if you have only two values, you can either specify like this: margin left and bottom. And there is one more procedure. You have a top value, you have a right value, but you don't have a left and a bottom value. In that case you can specify, sorry, you will not have a semicolon here. Okay, you will have the semicolon at the end. So like this also you can specify 0 0, you have nothing. If you don't want to specify 0 0, I mean if you don't want to make it 0, in that case you can either specify like this. Okay, and here in the example you can see, right, you have an image, style is float right, your image is floated right, and margin left of the image. For the image there is a margin left. So this is your paragraph, right, and this is your margin. So between both, actually we are giving margin left, which is a space between the image and the picture here, and margin bottom. So bottom of the image you can see a space, right, so this is the margin bottom. So if there are two elements in your HTML, so this is one element and this is another element. So the separation between the two elements can be done by using the external spacing is done using a margin. Okay, and you can have the borders for individual elements. P can have an individual border and this element can have an individual border. And within this, next comes a padding, the distance between the content of an element and its border. Okay, I'll show you with the help of an example here. Okay, here you have a class called 1. Okay, for this you have certain properties like, see here you can observe margin they have given only 0.2 inches, which means all the top, right, bottom and left are 0.2. In this case, if you give a single value like this, four sides the same value is applied. For padding also the same thing. And background color, border style is solid and letter spacing is 5 pixels. The space between the different letters like STYLE, STYLE. You have a space as 5 pixels, you can reduce it down to 2 pixels as well. See here you can observe the difference. And line height is 50 pixels, the space between the lines. Okay, these are the different attributes you can see. So this is one. So it has padding of, padding is the green color which you can observe here, right? Green shade. Okay, and margin is your a light red shade or kind of a carrot color, and you have a line between the padding and margin, green color and the red color, which is the border. Okay, the blue color is the content. Now is the time for all good web programmers to learn to use style sheets. So this is your content. So clear, right? So this is the box model. Background color we have already seen. Similarly, the background image is the same way. You will have a image instead of a color. Okay. In CSS, we have seen how to embed a image, right? Like URL, left parenthesis, then comes your the part where the actual image is there. So this is a homework for you. Like try out background image property as you tried background color. Okay. This is quite simple. You have seen the background image. For example, you have some small smiley icon, right? If you want to have that icon repeated n number of times, for example, if you want to repeat it and in the entire page, in that case you can have the background repeat property. If you don't want to repeat, you can have no repeat. And if you want to repeat in the x-axis direction, you can have a repeat x attribute. And if you want to repeat that particular image in the y-axis direction, you can have the repeat y. So background position again. So we have a top, center, bottom, left or right, where you want to exactly position your image, whether it is top or center or bottom or left. Okay, background image. So you have an image called paper.gif and you wanted to repeat in y direction. So that is the reason vertically it is repeated. Actually, it is a thin layer of image. As you have repeated it, you got this much width. Okay. If you want to repeat in the x direction, you can have the image repeated uh, in the x direction. Okay. And you have an image called smiley and you don't want to repeat it, so that is the reason you have given no repeat. If you give repeat, observe what happens. So it is repeated in your entire web browser. Okay, now it is fixed. Background attachment, there can be, I mean, like if it is not fixed also, I mean, whenever you scroll the page, you can have this image fixed by using this property. And the position is top, so that is the reason you can find it top. You can have it left or right, bottom. Okay, so you can just practice all the different attributes. Span is an inline element and div is a block element. So whatever you write within the div tag, it occupies the entire web page, the entire row of your web page, whereas span occupies a little portion of the content in which it has. Okay. So this is just a simple example. Span, and it has some properties. So that is the reason it is appear like this. So the span tag is similar to other HTML tags. They can be nested and they have ID and class. For span also, you can have it as a nested element and it has the ID and class. Another tag that is useful for style specification is div, division tags, used to create document sections for which the styles can be applied. A section of 5 paragraphs for which you want some particular style. So here it's just an explanation of a div tag and a body tag, span tag. So now we are moving to the last concept of our CSS. This is conflict resolution. Resolution is nothing but the solution for the current problem. So if you have conflicts like when you have two or more rules applied to the same tag, as we have already seen, like for P tag, I have given an inline style as red color, and for same P tag, I have given a red black color in the internal or external style sheet. Then we have also observed like what is the color that is applied first. So obviously the inline style took the precedence, right? So here we'll understand about the precedence as well as specificity, like which element is being more specific here. So inline styles have precedence over the document style sheets, and document style sheets have precedence over the external style sheets. So this is the concept, and within the same level there can be conflicts. A tag may be used twice as a selector. A tag may inherit a property and also used as a selector. So these are the different cases where we can observe the conflicts. So try to practice them, try to give same property to multiple tags and observe how it behaves with respect to inline, internal and external. So mentors, please make the students understand the conflicts by practicing them. And style sheets can have different sources. Like for example, we know we can embed the style sheet using external style sheets. The author of a document may specify the styles. The user through browser settings may specify the styles. So we can like specify the styles using these different sources. So this either give it in your inline or in external or in document level and observe how it behaves. So this is a task for you. So within the same level there can be conflicts. This one we have already seen, right? Try to do this one. Within the same level there can be conflicts. Like for H3 I have given color red. Sorry, this can be green. Okay. So try to give this and observe how it behaves. So this is a tag may be used twice as a selector. A tag may inherit the property and also be used as a selector. So this one. And style sheet can have different sources. So this is all about different sources. Font family to your browser. In that case, a default font family applies to your web page, right? This is nothing but the style sheet is automatically applied through your browser settings. And one more thing we can observe is like uh, in tools, options, and advanced window. I'll just type some example here. You can check. This is also another source through which the font size can be changed. And individual properties can be specified as important. Okay, see, this this individual property can be specified as important. You can see in real-time projects, but it is not a recommended practice to give this particular. I'll show you the syntax here. Time programming, though it helps us in certain scenarios. With a symbol and important, with an exclamatory symbol and important. So in your web page, if there are p dot special or multiple p tags, you want to override all those p tags with the font style as italic. For example, one p has a style of bold, okay, and another p has another style, and you want to override all the styles of your p tags of class special as italic. In this case, we actually use this property individual. Do not use this property because it creates a lot of performance issues. So this is just for your. And if your style is not getting applied and there is some problem like you have used the same tag or same class, in that case, if you want to actually apply whatever style you want, we give important, which takes the highest precedence and gives whatever style you want to give it. But it is strongly recommended not to use in a real-time programming. See here, the first step in the process, like what happens, like first we need to understand the precedence, right? So what are the steps that are involved? We have to see. Precedence is nothing but giving importance, like high importance, like inline has more precedence when compared to the document level, right? So the first step in the process is to give is to gather the style specifications from three possible levels of style sheets. So you gather all the style specifications from internal, inline, and external. These specifications are sorted in order to use kinds of sortings, bubble sorting and all in your programming languages. So when you sort, what happens here? Is it an ascending or a descending kind of sorting we do, right? So these specifications are sorted in order into the order by the relative precedence of the style sheet levels. So this is done according to the following rules in which the first has the highest preference. So these are the certain precedence rules by which the sorting happens. Cascading, okay. Shared, okay. The style sheets may have three different origins. So how the origins have come up, the style sheet origins, like author, user, and user agent. So the author specifies his style sheets for a source document according to the conventions of the document language. For instance, for example, in HTML style sheets, we may be included in the document or linked externally. So author is nothing but the person who is actually coding, and he does specify the different kinds of style sheets. And the user may be able to specify the style information for a particular document. For example, user may specify a file that contains a style sheet, or the user agent may provide an interface that generates a user style sheet. See here, we can specify the style information for a particular document, like we have seen in external style sheets, right? For each individual document we are trying to specify the style information. For example, the user may specify a file that contains a style sheet, so it has some style sheet. User agent is nothing but with the help of the user agent you will be able to get what kind of a browser you are using. Okay, I'll show you some example of to understand what is meant by user agent, which is nothing but a web browser or a web client. Actually, user agent means it will have like a default style sheet that presents the documents in a reasonable, like whatever the default styles the browser applies, right? We often call it as a user agent style sheet. Here you can see, right? No, this cannot be understood by you. It's better to go through the W3 org to get more details. As I mentioned earlier, if we are actually currently using any Chrome browser, in that case, we can find the user agent style like WebKit margin start. So whenever you give the WebKit, right, so it means like it is specified for Chrome or Safari browsers. We call them as WebKit browsers. So these are the default styles given by the browser. Instead of WebKit, if you give Moz, M-O-Z, okay. If you give Moz instead of a WebKit, if you give hyphen moz hyphen moz, it refers to a Firefox browser. So this is about the user agent. Okay. Rules of a further precedence, how it actually happens. Okay. The students with the additional information. Tiebreakers. So conflict resolution, we can by specificity we can specify from high to low. That ID selectors has highest specificity, and then comes the class and pseudo classes, and then the contextual, and last thing is the general selectors. Each will have a definite specificity, and ID selector will have the highest precedence, it's a unique value, and then comes in the order class and pseudo selectors and contextual selectors, general selectors. Then you have p tag. For two p tags, you have given color red and color gray. So which color will apply? The later has precedence over the earlier. The later is nothing but the color gray has more precedence with respect to the color red, because it is overriding this. If these are present in any styles or external or internal style sheets, and if you have given the color, two colors for the same tag, then the last one later will override the previous one. Okay. You can try this with the help of an example. Try to give two colors to the same tag, with first P has some color and second P has some other color. The later will override the first P. So that is about the precedence over the earlier. So this is all about the CSS concepts. Today we shall go through the JavaScript basics, like a basic introduction, so that we can detail and discuss in tomorrow's class, which helps for interacting between the different HTML pages. statements to be executed by the browser. Okay, and it is most popular scripting language on the internet. When you do any web programming, the primary language that you have to understand or you should be able to code is the JavaScript. So JavaScript is a very basic scripting language that everyone should be aware of if they want to become a web or a mobile developer as well. So it is a primary language that everyone has to learn, and it works on all major browsers like IE, Internet Explorer. Okay, the prerequisite is nothing but it has to support HTML or XHTML, and it is originally known as a live script, which was actually developed by Netscape. So we call them it as a live script initially, but it became a joint venture of the Netscape and the Sun systems in the year 1995. So in the year 1995, there is a like it became a joint venture of both the Netscape and Sun, and it was renamed as JavaScript. Okay, that is about the origin, and it was standardized by ECMA. Like there are standards W3C community which provides web standards. For JavaScript, we have a ECMA standard, ECMA 262, ISO 16262. ECMA is nothing but European Computer Manufacturers Association. So European Computers Manufacturers Association has defined a standard, and current standard specification can be found in the below link. Okay, you can see the link, right? So it has some specifications of the JavaScript. And a working version of the fourth edition of ECMA script language specification is specified in the below link, and JavaScript as implemented in Mozilla products. So this is a developer link of the Mozilla. There you can find all the relevant documents to the JavaScript, and this is a very beautiful site. You can get a good amount of information in this developer.mozilla.org. Okay, please go to this link for sure. Script name. To the HTML pages. So for your HTML pages, if they want to talk to each other, it has to be interactive. In that case, we use this scripting language. And the scripting language is a very lightweight programming language, and it usually embedded directly into the HTML pages. Like we have embedded the link REL, right, for our CSS. So in that way, you can embed the HTML, JavaScript. So this is all about the origin. We have seen this developed by Netscape, joint development with Sun Microsystems in 1995, and European Computer Manufacturers Association. It's supported by Netscape, Mozilla, and IE. So this is all about the origin. The JavaScript components. The core. It is a heart of the language, including its operators, expressions, statements, and subprograms. So basically, JavaScript is divided into three parts: the core, client side, and the server side. So core is nothing but it includes a set of operators: addition, multiplication, division kind of operations, and expressions and statements. Okay, if else is a statement, and subprograms. So client side is nothing but a collection of objects that support the control of the browser and the interaction with the user. So in the client side, when you click on any element, submit, some action performs, right? So it's a kind of an like collection of objects that support. We write certain functions, and within the function we write our code, what has to be executed on that button click. So it supports the control of a browser as well as interaction with the user. And server side, it is a collection of objects that make the language useful on the web server. So to support the communication, example we can see like it supports a communication with the DBMS. Client-side JavaScript is an XHTML embedded scripting language. We refer to every collection of the JavaScript code as a script. And server side also, we can make communications possible. when we want to make a server-side calls or something, we use an Ajax calls in JavaScript that we are going to discuss in our further classes. It means a library of objects supporting the browser control and the user interactions. And server side, it has some library of objects which supports the use in the web servers. So JavaScript can be a part of client side as well as server side, but more of a client side rather than a server side, because we have some upcoming technologies like Node.js, which is based on a JavaScript language only, and it is a server side language like Java and all. We can use Node.js, which internally uses the JavaScript. So Node.js is one of the technologies which uses the JavaScript. It's a server side language. So now currently in the market we have this particular language becoming more popular as it is providing good performance for small applications and all. Applications that we find, we can find them on the client side. So differences between Java and JavaScript. So this is one of the very important questions that you can face in your future in any of the interviews. Is Java and JavaScript similar? No, it is not. Java is a programming language, whereas JavaScript is a scripting language. So typically both are different. Okay. Different types of window text boxes, radio buttons, checkboxes. What are the different tags we have, right? In our HTML, they can be manipulated by using the JavaScript. Okay. And JavaScript and Java is only related through syntax only, and JavaScript it supports object oriented programming, which is different from that of Java. Okay, it's like dynamically typed JavaScript. It's a strong Java is like a strongly typed language. I think you are well aware of Java, right? So there are certain differences between Java and you can find the difference like JavaScript is dynamically typed and Java is strongly typed language. It means like types of all are known at the compile time for Java, and operand times are checked for the compatibility. By the compile time itself, you will get to know all the different types. But the variables in JavaScript need not to be declared. It is not necessary for the declaration, and that dynamically typed means making the compile type checking impossible. So during the compile time, we cannot check the actual types. So in objects in Java, you know that they are static. Their collection of data numbers and methods is fixed at the compile time. Whereas JavaScript objects are dynamic. The number of data members and methods of an object can change during the execution. So in Java, certain things are static, like they are fixed, the data numbers or the methods during the compile time. Whereas in the runtime, JavaScript objects are dynamic. So during the execution time also they can change. So we should also understand the uses of the JavaScript. Okay. Provide the programming capability at both the server and the client ends of a web connection. When you make a connection, then it has to serve both the server side and the client side. Client side JavaScript is embedded in XHTML documents and is interpreted by the browser. Okay, you use some script tags to include your JavaScript files, and this transfer of load from the often overloaded server to normally underloaded client can obviously benefit all other clients. For example, if you mainly base on your server for all the uh, for all the code, then it becomes an overloaded from the server end. So in order to reduce that overload, we can use the JavaScript, which is a benefit for the clients. And it cannot replace the server-side computation like file operations, database access, and networking. So it can only interact, but at the backend, it cannot be able to do any changes. And JavaScript can be used as an alternative to the Java applets. And Java applets are the downloaded separately from the XHTML documents. that call them, but JavaScript are integral part of the XHTML documents. So no secondary downloading is necessary in case of JavaScript. Of the web page. So our web page, when we are actually done with writing all the tags, there is a model called as object model, for which HTML is the root. So when we actually try to make any manipulations on the HTML tags, all these are like observed in this document object model. I'll explain you in detail about this document object model. So which is an internal model of the web page. Of the JavaScript. Now currently we are using AngularJS, React.js. So these are certain backbone.js. So all are the different JavaScript frameworks which are built out of the JavaScript, and this provides certain advantages uh, while delivering your project. So Dojo is also one of the example. It's a toolkit. We can make possible like interaction with the users through the form elements such as buttons and menus can be conveniently described in the JavaScript. For example, before going to the example, these events such as button clicks and mouse movements are easily detected with the JavaScript. They can be used to trigger the computations and provide feedback to the users. Here, for example, when the user moves the mouse cursor from the text box, like when you have the cursor on your text box, you find it as a focus, right? When you actually move the mouse away from your text box, the JavaScript can detect the movement and check the appropriateness of the text box values. Okay, then these certain kind of actions can be detected by the JavaScript. Okay, it is focusing or it is blur kind of events we have in JavaScript, and this can be easily detected with the help of JavaScript. Even without forms, user interactions are both possible and simple to program. So these interactions which take place in a dialog windows, including getting input from the user and allowing the user to make choices through the button. So you are trying to make a choice, right? Male, female, and a radio button. So all these are possible. It is also easy to generate new content in the browser display dynamically. For example, not only you are coding in your HTML, but you can create a tag dynamically using a JavaScript without writing any element in your HTML. So that is the beauty of the JavaScript. And key presses are referred to as events. So when something action has to be performed, see, you can observe these certain kinds of actions as an events, and the main task of the most JavaScript programs is to respond to events. So when you click on a submit button, we have written some function, and within the function we have certain code. So this is nothing but reacting, right? So we have to respond to the particular events. For example, a JavaScript program could validate data in a form before it is submitted to the server. So, with the help of JavaScript, we can do the validations from the client side itself. For example, you have left your input box empty. Then you can make a prompt like, please fill the text. Kind of validations can be done from the front end JavaScript. So it is important that crucial validation to be done by server. Crucial validation is nothing but if you are a user and you are trying to log into an application, if you are authenticated, I mean, if you are authorized only, the authentication will happen. For example, you are a student of JNTU and you have a certain login. If you are not a student of JNTU and if you try to give some random username and password, those kind of details has to be authenticated, verified from the backend, right? In that case, it is mandatory to have a server side validation. Okay. Normally from the client end, it can check whether the box is not filled or empty, or a very high critical validations or a crucial validation has to be done by the server. And for example, user might create a copy of web page but remove all the validation code. Okay, So you have to be very careful while submitting. Also, you need to send some appropriate data, so it can reduce the number of hits to the server side. Interpret it. Interpret means it has to understand, okay, this is a kind of a JavaScript file that is embedded in a HTML page. And two locations for JavaScript server, different purposes. Say here JavaScript in the head element will react to the user input and be called from other locations. The JavaScript in the body element will be executed once as the page is loaded. So here we have two different representations of the JavaScript. We can include like link REL in the head section of the web page, and we can also include our JavaScript in the body element, which will be executed once all the page is loaded. All the pages loaded means you have 10 different tags, right? Once all the 10 different tags are rendered in your web browser, then JavaScript that JavaScript file starts working unless the entire page is loaded. Okay, if you give it in a body element. If you have given it in your head element, okay, your events are already ready. So even before loading, also if something has to happen, that can be achieved using the JavaScript which is written in your head element. So it won't wait for the entire page to load. So various strategies must be used to protect the JavaScript from the browser. So for example, comparisons represent the problem since less than and greater than are used to mark the tags in XHTML. So we have to ensure like the certain tags are not confused when you are actually programming. JavaScript code can be enclosed in XHTML comments. Code can be enclosed in a C data section, and these are the two places like where you can embed your code: XHTML comments and the C data section. Execute the JavaScript. How do a browser understand that JavaScript means it has an interpreter, JS interpreter, so it executes the script. Okay. When the end of the script is reached and the browser goes back to reading the HTML document and displaying its content. So when you write in your head portion, so actually the browser before the body, before the content is displayed, a particular interpreter will read the entire content and it will display the content here. So JS scripts can appear in either a part of XHTML document like head or body as we discussed. So in the same way, we can write our script in the head section using the script tag, and within the script opening and closing tags, we can write our functions. Okay, discuss in the next class.